Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Sam and I like to talk a bunch of and try to make you laugh in the process. If you are not new here, thank you so much for coming back. As always, I appreciate you more than words can say. So I recently hit the mother load of Scentsy training recordings. I have like at least a dozen recordings that I want to react to, maybe not consecutively, but within over the next couple of months or so. If you're not aware, I was in Scentsy for about 3 or 4 years. So the people in these trainings I have either met or I have in some way looked up to. So I feel very connected to these trainings and I really wanted to give my insight of what's going on and just kind of expose Scentsy for what it is, because they are often known as the quote unquote safe MLM, because not that they don't follow the shady practices that all of the other MLMs do. It's very well disguised in Scentsy as wholesome interactions, but the same agenda that exists, say, within Monat also exists within Scentsy at the same level. So if that makes sense. So they're just like, they are also problematic and toxic. They're an MLM. The fact that they have this business model speaks for itself. So if you're not familiar with Scentsy, I have done a few videos on them already. I will link the playlist of my Scentsy videos in the description below. They are a wickless candle company. They started off with selling full-size scent warmers, and how they work is with a light bulb. You put the light bulb in and then there's a little dish on top and you melt the wax. You may have seen this in a number of stores because Target has them, Walmart has them, Yankee Candle has them. They all have them now. So it's not specific to Scentsy any longer. From there, they grew into more products. So they have all of the things you can think of aside from candles with wicks to fill your home with a scent. And they also have like body products. They have pet products. They have children's products. They have a whole array of things that are scented mostly. The business is run as an MLM, so a multi-level marketing company, which means you, in my opinion, and as this video will prove to be right, you primarily make an income off of recruiting people and their work. So in a way, you can also look at this as a pyramid scheme if you wanted to. But that would be your opinion. So with all of that said, let's get into this. Now, the individual that is running this specific call that we're looking at today is I believe she's a superstar director. She was when I was in. I don't know if that's still the case, but she is very well known within the Scentsy company, along with the other individuals who will be speaking. I know their names, I know their faces, and I have taken trainings from them in the past. So let's get into it.
Welcome to Thursday Night Shift. Sounds like I said something else, huh? Thank goodness I didn't. Okay, we are so excited to be here tonight. Our opening question for tonight.
For this specific Scentsy team, this Thursday night shift, quote unquote, is something that they do weekly. I don't think they do it weekly any longer. I think they stopped in 2022, or they realized that their videos were public and they stopped making them public in 2022. This training is actually from 2020, but it's very telling. I think the word needs to get out and get spread. So we're bringing awareness to it, and it doesn't matter that it's a few years old, because this information essentially is timeless, as you'll see.
We are going to tell you last month, if we only got paid on what we personally sold on our PRV, you guys, we're going to tell you what our paychecks would have been. And then we're also going to give you the percentage of what our paycheck is because of sponsoring, right? So I'll go first, so hopefully I'm not confusing. Y'all are probably like, what in the heck is she saying? I'm not a numbers person. So I'm not going to be talking too much this call because I don't get the comp plan, understand it fully. I don't really understand numbers, and you don't have to. You can still be successful not fully understanding, but that's why we have these smart, educated numbers people here to teach you the comp plan tonight.
So she just openly said that she does not understand the comp plan. And I will reiterate and also explain further, because I realized I didn't do that when I originally said it. She is a superstar director, which means she is at the tippity top of the pyramid. She has been, again, superstar director for many years. And she just admitted on a team Zoom call that she does not know or understand the compensation plan, which is problematic. I myself never understood the compensation plan when I was inside of the MLM, and I think that a lot of MLMs, in my opinion, formulate it this way so that you don't understand, because if you did understand, you would realize that it's an illegal pyramid scheme, in my opinion, again, and you wouldn't spend the money to join. That alone is telling. And the fact that they are also going to share with their team how much money they made off of them is absolutely disgusting. And again, very telling, because wait until you hear the numbers.
Last month, I personally sold $2,691.10. Hard work right there. My paycheck would have been $807.33. Not too shabby still, I think.
So she sold over $2,000, which means I'm going to be pausing a lot. I'm sorry. Anytime you sell over $2,000 in PRV inside Scentsy, you will get a bonus. I believe it's 5% unless they changed it. So you'll get an extra 5% added on to your 25%. So she made over $800. Now this individual, I believe, does not have a job outside the home. I believe that Scentsy is her full-time job. If I'm not mistaken, that is what it was when I was inside of the world. So she is making her full income on her paychecks. Now let's listen to what she made, how much of a percentage this was in her paycheck for the month.
I think that's still pretty dang good, actually. However, my efforts and my work were only 6% of my paycheck, which means 94% of the bulk of my check came from sponsoring and my team. And my
ma'am, that is a pyramid scheme. And you have made this video public, and we're going to blow it up over here in the anti-MLM world. 94% of your income came from you doing nothing, because she just said 6% of her check came from her work and the rest came from her sponsors and her downlines work. So they're all working away, losing money potentially, and most likely because of the statistics that the FTC has put out and made public. The majority of your team is likely losing money or breaking even. And these top of the line superstar directors in Scentsy that got in early and started recruiting are benefiting off of these people who are putting themselves in debt, who are taking so much time away from their family, who are thinking that they can earn that next incentive trip if they just spend that extra 2 hours a night working on their business. How do I know this? Because these are the things that I was doing, and I lost money.
Group. Next.
Well, I can go next. Only I don't know how to figure out the percentage part. Because I also suck at math. But I can. What's that?
Go ahead, Callie, tell her.
No, you go ahead. Divide your paycheck or what your PRV earnings were by your entire paycheck.
I'm sorry, say it again.
So you divide your PRV by what your actual paycheck was. So like your PRV number that you got, just tell them what you got. It's fine. Well, yeah, you're good. Just tell them what you would have been paid.
Oh, okay, so I sold $2,363 last month. From that, my paycheck would have been $749.61.
Which is still a great check.
And we did calculate, I calculated 30% because you do get that extra bonus. So that's why mine was $807. Same with Jody, 30%.
I'll go. Last month, I sold $3,696.41. 30%, if my paycheck would have been $1,108, which is fantastic. It was 20%
Last month?
of my check.
It was what?
20% of my check.
Last month, I sold 2,217. My check would have been $665. And that was 5% of my check.
So far we've got 6% of their paycheck came from sales, 20%, and now 5%.
Jill McCarthy, her check was so good, it is just silent. It
was so good it broke her microphone.
Thank goodness she sold some stuff to buy a new microphone.
She's going to need to check.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can. Beautiful.
But I can't hear you. What is happening?
We can hear you. We hear you. We can hear.
Oh, no.
Now, this is one of the reasons that LuLaRoe got caught up in such a mess, is because the majority of people's paychecks were coming from their downline's purchases. They had to change their whole pay structure. Now, I'm not saying that LuLaRoe is doing great things. They are not, in my opinion. They are still a pyramid scheme and they need to go away. But this video alone, in my opinion, getting out there and getting exposure can mean big things for Scentsy in the future. And with that said, it's never my intent to push somebody to not have the income that they need to raise their family or to support themselves or keep a roof over their heads. That's not my intent. So I think it's terrible that these people are sucked into these MLMs on the false promises that they are going to make so much money. And then the ones that do start making money, if something happens to this business that is not their own, but they are convinced that it's their business, if something happens, they have no more income. And I understand and sympathize with that. I don't think that that is a great thing to happen. But in my opinion, these businesses are harming more people than they are helping. And for those reasons, they need to come to a stop. The structure needs to be changed. Make it an affiliate program alone, and that would be better. You stop the recruiting part of it. That's the problem there is. That's the problem. That's the main problem. That's where the price inflation happens. That's where the destruction of your thought processes happens. That's where your debt happens. That's where all of these things happen. If it was just purely an affiliate program, they can, in my opinion, lower the prices because they don't have to pay out these people for recruiting. There's just so much more that can come from an affiliate program, more positive than comes from the MLM structure, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, no, Jilly Sue. Well, technical difficulty.
Jen, why don't you go? You're going to share what you were paid, what your commission or what your PRV was last month, and what your commission on that would have been.
Okay. So, hi, everybody. So my commission would have been $821 if I was just paid on what I sold. And that ended up being 1.8% of my entire paycheck.
Wow.
You heard that right. 1.8% of her paycheck was from sales. The rest of her paycheck was from her team and her recruiting efforts, her bonuses, her team sales, all of those things, her GWV, all of it. That's where that came from. If she had no team, that's all she would have made. It would have been 100% of her paycheck if this was an affiliate program, again. But yeah, 1.8% is absolutely ridiculous.
Which is pretty crazy.
So I'm going to go last because I had the least PRV out of the entire group, and I had a whopping 1,010 PRV. That's a lie. That's this month already. Let's rewind. I had last month 1,064 PRV. So I did not get the monthly sales award last month. And I would have made $266 off of my personal commissions. And I'm hesitant to share this number, but I'm going to share it anyways. So I was only paid somewhere around there of our was from our personal PRV for our end of the month commission check.
Okay, so we went from 1.8 to 0.04, which is not super surprising because she sold less than $2,000 of products. She did not get that extra 5% of income, which only gave her a little over $200. And that is just sickening to think that they're telling people that they can go into this business without recruiting. And this woman sold over $1,000 of products and made just over $200. That is nothing in today's climate. Nothing. But she had her team to rely on, so her big paycheck, that's where that came from. Now, the one requirement when I was in, I'm not sure if it's still the same today, you do have to sell $500 of products. You have to have $500 of PRV before you get anything from your downline. So all of these people have to hit that number. And that's the only requirement of them, just to sell $500.
And so the reason that we wanted to share this with you is not to brag. It's not to, deflate the number to which we got paid, because that's great for a lot of consultants where you are in your business. That is such an awesome number. Lots of you, many of your team members, they would have loved to get a $666 commission check or a $1,000 commission check or a $2,000 commission check right off their personal sales. That would have been a huge, awesome, awesome goal. But we're here to talk to you guys tonight about what's possible, because we want you to dream bigger and have a slightly different understanding of how to make that happen. Do we wanted to answer the other question, or are we going to go just dive in? Jill, are you fixed, Jill? Can you hear us?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Do you want to share yours?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I sold 2,933. My paycheck would have been $882, and that was 9% of my total paycheck.
That's pretty awesome. Okay, so anytime we share these type of numbers, and this is going to be in the description of all of our YouTube videos when we repost this, if you share this training with your team or anybody else, is the income disclosure statement. So anytime we make any sort of lifestyle claim, anytime of commission claims, what we did earn, what's possible, we always have to include that income disclosure statement. And so we're going to start with that tonight, just because it is important, but also because it really depicts what is fully possible. And Jill, if you don't have the screen sharing enabled, will you do that real quick? I don't know if you do or not. So I have the income disclosure statement here pulled up, and I'm going to share my perspective, because even when Heather saw me share this on another video, and I think some of the other girls saw me share my perspective of the income disclosure statement, where they maybe thought before when sharing that was kind of a not motivating or inspiring thing, it actually really truly is when you know how to look at it and you break it down. So this is our income disclosure statement, maybe. Yeah, can you guys see that? The income disclosure statement, that's what we're looking at?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So this income disclosure statement is for 2019. So basically, Scentsy took all of the consultants that were in as consultants in 2019, and they earned between 20 and 30% commission bonuses on their personal sales, as well as their leadership bonuses. So that's what we're looking at, okay? And we broke it into two groups. So group number one is actually the number of consultants. This is how many had been in Scentsy for longer than 12 months. That was group number one. Group number two is how many consultants had been with Scentsy for less than 1 year. So less than 12 months that they were able to be a part of the Scentsy family. Okay. So group number one, this goes to show you that we have some hobbyists, right? Of these 49-something thousand consultants, we have some hobbyists. They maybe put their 200 in here and there. They really don't get paid a whole super duper lot, right? But there is the base or minimum commissions that somebody earned in 1 year. The second number is the max commission that somebody earned. So there is a consultant in Scentsy that in the year of 2019, they made over $1 million. I think that's pretty impressive, right? I'm sure there's a point where some of you are like, oh, that's not for me. That's just the people at the top. That's just the ones that got in the beginning. I can't do that, right? So I know a lot of times we think about that, and that's where our mind goes. But that's where I really want to point out group two and why this is so inspiring. And this is where probably 90% of consultants will fall into place. So we have those consultants, over 1,000 or 115,000 consultants in this group. And there were some that made zero. They came into the Scentsy family. They made absolutely zero money that year. Maybe they bought their kit. They were a kidnapper. They didn't do anything. They fell off. Whatever happened there, right? But there was a consultant that came in that knew what was possible, and in 1 year made over $36,000. So when you think about that, if you shifted your mindset, if you shifted your
that's showing you one person. And there's so many factors missing from these disclosure statements, which, I mean, not all of them are realistic to be on here, but when you're looking at an MLM, these are factors that you need to think of. And that is like, does this person have a full-time job that they are also working that made this $36,000, which in this climate, again, is not a lot. It's a drop in the bucket, not going to get you much, unfortunately. That's the first question. Like, did this person have a full-time job that they were also working? What does this person's network look like? Are they already a influencer on Instagram? Do they have a YouTube channel? Do they have a large following? To blanket this statement and say, look at what anybody can do. I couldn't hit that number because I had a full-time job where I was working over 40 hours a week. I had a child in school who I had to make sure I got to the bus and picked up on time, all while I was working. I have a marriage to keep going. I have other friendships to keep going. Like, what did this individual, what did the big picture look like? And the bigger picture looks like $190 annually, or for the people who have been in longer, just $1,769 annually. Now, even with that, you want to look more at the median annual commissions, because that is going to give you the middle average of what everybody has made in that year. And $588 annually is $49 a month average. Please tell me what the you're doing with that, because these days you can't even take your family out to dinner. What are you doing with $49? Yes, it's nice to have that extra money, but for the amount of work they have to put in to get that amount of money, it's absolutely ridiculous. And you are probably getting paid less than pennies an hour to make even just that $588.
Perspective, and you really decided to implement yourself into your business, that could be you. That could be each and every one of you, of changing your circumstances. And all of us, the reason we shared what that was is because we can earn a great income on our personal sales. But if we want to take that to the next level and really reach your goals, your dream, desire, whatever you're here and trying to do with your Scentsy business, this number is possible for each and every one of you, whether you've been in this business for less than a year or if you've been in this business for 10 years. When you decide to, it doesn't matter when you join, it's when you decide to take action, right? When you start to take those steps towards success. And so this is why I find this inspiring, is because it shows that no matter where you are, you can make that happen. It's just up to you and the actions that you take.
Kelly, can I just say a little something on that as well?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that, there are consultants on here right now definitely saying to themselves, that will never be me. I don't know how to do that, or it's out of their scope of thinking. Like, it's hard for some people to dream big. But I bet you if we found out who those consultants were that are on that chart and we asked them, they would have said the same thing when they joined. That, when I heard actually your mom speak at, I think it was World Tour back then, and then it was switched back in the fall of 2009. And can I share what she said there, Callie?
Sure.
Okay. So back in 2009, Scentsy was still really new. It was just kind of making its way to the East Coast. I still learning what the heck I was doing. I remember listening to this woman who I've come to be, friends with now, but back then I didn't know her. She had made $18,000 that month. And I said, oh my God, right? Like those are things that we dream about. And people like me, we don't earn money like that. People like me, we can't do what people like her did. So if that sounds like you, if that's the kind of talk that you're telling yourself right now, I beg you to stop. Because had I listened to myself and the little icky bitty, the negative Nellies in my ear, the people who were telling me it was a fake job, or listening to people I thought were friends and family that cared, telling me that it was just a scam or a pyramid scheme, all of those things, I wouldn't be where I am today. And so I'm like, again, begging you, please don't tell yourself that. Do not discount yourself before you even give yourself a chance to succeed.
They cared because eventually, in my opinion, this business structure is going to be fully exposed for what it is. And in the long run, you're going to get hurt. And that is why the people who tell other individuals who are looking at joining an MLM not to do it. You literally never know what's going to happen. When you put all of your eggs in this one MLM basket, you can lose everything in the snap of a finger. This is different than a job that you might lose because there are options for you when you lose a job. There's unemployment, there's different packages that they offer, there's all kinds of assistance. And I understand those things aren't always easy to get either, but they're easier to get when you lose your income from a job as opposed to an MLM, because there's nothing. Like when an MLM shuts down, that's the end of the line. There's nothing else unless you have a spouse with an income or you have some kind of assistance that you can get from your personal circle. There's no assistance for people who lose their quote unquote business from the MLM structure. So when she talks about her family and her loved ones trying to tell her the negative things, this is why they are bringing that perspective in, just to kind of be like, hey, don't do this. It's a bad idea. But they don't see it until they're on the other side of it. And I can say that because I was one of those people for many years.
It also reminds me of a time when Rachel Pence, who some of you might know, when she joined Scentsy, she started, I think our incentive period, the year that we went to Africa, was she started as a certified consultant and promoted to director during that holiday season and earned a global top 150 spot. So she went from certified to director in one incentive period and is now 2 years later a superstar director. But I mean, I think we all at some point have said, that's them, that's not us. Other people win things. Other people win the lottery. Other people make that kind of money. Other people are the ones that book parties. Other people are the ones that are just good at recruiting or sponsoring. Other people are the ones that, have the personality for this. And when we stop saying other people and we start saying us, ourselves, we can do this too, because there's way too many examples in the Scentsy family of other people that have done it. Once you put yourself in the same category of she did it, and she did it, and she did it, and I can do it too, it's all mindset. That's when things change. That's when it shifts. So I just had to interject that. It is, you can go from certified to director in one incentive season and be in the global top 150. It is possible. I mean, and we're talking Rachel, who has 5 kids under what age?
Like 6.
Yeah, I think she's a 10-year-old, but still, they're young.
They're young.
Still. So like, she's the kind of person who, when you start to feel like you want to use an excuse for something, especially when, I have 2 little kids, and when I want to use an excuse, I'm like, there's other people with 5 little kids running around, and so I don't really have a lot of room to talk. So anyhow, just knowing that we are all in support of one another and we all can do great things. It's not just the other person or somebody else.
I know these individuals, and most of them, I respect the hell out of them. It's so hard because I don't want to get emotional. The people on this call, I don't have a deep personal connection with, but I was in this community for over 3 years, and I respect these individuals so much, and I did attend their trainings, like I said, but that doesn't mean that I agree with them continuing on in this MLM business or the things that they are saying to other individuals to get them into the MLM business. And I don't think that it's their fault. I think that just the fact that they've been inside of this world for so long And I know that the individuals that I'm speaking of, if they were to even see this video, like, they're automatically going to have harsh feelings against me, which is fine. I was the same way with, like, even Chelsea when she was making her videos and I was still on the cusp of leaving. I was like, I totally disagree with her, and who is she to say all of this? And now here I am in the content creation space around anti-MLM. So I understand that they are not going to agree with me, and they're automatically going to have this aversion to me and my content, which is, again, fine. I also think that these people most of them are good people. When they do realize what this is, or when something potentially happens to the business model down the road, I think that their eyes will be open more to it. With all of that said, her saying that she has 2 kids and comparing that to someone with 5 kids, and have that be the reason that maybe she gets down on herself that she didn't reach that income that the person with 5 children did. I think everybody has a different situation, and you can't, again, blanket that statement like so-and-so has 5 kids, so if they can do it, anybody can. That's not the case. You don't know anybody's situation. They could be working multiple jobs outside of the home to keep them and their children afloat, or them alone afloat. You don't know what everybody's different situation is. So I hate when they use this kind of analogy where I have 5 kids or so-and-so has 5 kids and they're at the top of the company, because that is not going to be the case for everybody with or without kids.
Okay, so one of the things that we wanted, we were kind of like, okay, how do we cover this topic? And Jody was really the one that was like, you guys cannot name this call that. Like, it cannot be that, because nobody's going to want to listen to this call. But we really wanted to dive into a couple things that we feel like we come across in our groups and our teams where they don't quite understand how they get paid, or wait, I got my commission check and it wasn't what it was supposed to be. Why? What happened, right? What is title versus rank? Because we get paid on where we're ranking, right? Not our title. Do we all have to qualify for that every single month? Some of these basic questions that I know that myself, I knew there was a void in where I was explaining things, and other members of our kind of, I don't know what we're going to call ourselves, those that are leading this call, they felt that as well in their group. So that's why we wanted to cover this topic and show you guys really what's possible and how to understand how to get to where you want to be, right? How to get to those points. Does one of my lovely team members here want to cover like that rank and title and just a little bit about that compensation piece there?
No, thank you.
I think I would try, but I don't know that I would deliver it in a good manner.
Say that again, Kelly. Sorry, I was responding to something in chat.
The difference between rank and title and how we have to accomplish our title every single month to get paid at that. The basics of that. I hate when I'm the only one. I like talking a lot.
Nobody wants to explain it, and they're at the top of the company? Is that because they don't understand it either? It seems that nobody understands these compensation plans when they're inside of the MLM, and that's scary.
So title is something that you achieve based on selling your, okay, so let's just say let's use lead consultant, for example. So you're a certified consultant, you were sponsored one person, and you sold $500. This is on any given month. So everything happens within Scentsy within 1 month, okay? So from the first to the end of the month, you have that long to get paid at title, to get paid at your rank, okay? So what this means is your title is what you achieve. You go from certified, you sponsor one person, and they are active. They have to be active. That's what an active frontline is. They have to have at least $200 in the system for the month, and you have to have at least $500 of it. Now, here's the thing. You can't go from certified to lead with one person selling 200 and you selling 500, because that's only $700 and you need a TWV of 1,000. Let's back up for 1 second. TWV, or anytime you see a W, that is wholesale volume. So a lot of times it's very confusing when you say, but I have 1,000, my TWV is 1,000, but that's actually wholesale volume. The retail volume of that is $1,333. So backtracking, if I lose you, just stay with me. I will break this down. Okay, so me and I'm a certified consultant. I sponsored Callie. Callie has $200 in the system. She is active. Woohoo! I have an active frontline. I've sold $500 in PRV. That's $700, but we need $1,333. Where's that going to come from? Well, the only thing I can control is my own sales. I can't force Callie to sell. Okay, so one of two things needs to happen. I need to make up the difference between the $700 that Callie and I have together and the $1,333 that we need for me to promote to lead. Lead is the title that I have my eye on. That's the title I'm looking to promote to. Okay, so let's just say though that Callie has this booming month. I sell 500. Callie sells 1,000. Okay, we've got 1,500 in retail sales, which is over the 1,333 that we need in retail volume. I promote in title to lead consultant. Now, for me to get paid at my title, we have to hit those qualifications every month. So just because you're a lead consultant, just because I'm a lead consultant now, doesn't mean I automatically get paid at lead consultant every single month. In order to get paid at my rank and paid at title, right? Am I saying that? Am I using rank right? Okay. You have to hit those qualifications again. So next month, if Callie does her 200 and I do my 500, we're at 700, we fall short. I get paid as a certified consultant, which means I don't get paid off of Callie. If, let's just say, I am like, okay, I can't do this all on my own. I'm really good at selling 500 a month. I could kick it up a little bit, but if Callie's going to do the minimum, I need to add another person. So I make this sound so easy. I'm just going to add Jody to my team. And so now I have Callie and Jody as my front line. Callie is my $200 a month. She doesn't sell more than that. Okay. Jody comes on board and she is like, all right, I have a $500 party my first month. So now Callie's got the 200, Jody's got the 500, and I have to have 500 to get paid at title. We fall short by $133. So I'm going to have to kick it up a little bit to get that $133. So let's just say I sold 700. With Jody and Callie and my own sales, I have enough to get paid at title for that month. The bottom line here is there's a couple things to take away from this very confusing conversation that I just had. It is you have to earn your title back every month in order to get paid at that title. Or you don't have to earn it back. You have it automatically. You have your title automatically. But in order to get paid at that title, you have to hit those qualifications on a monthly basis. Okay, that's a big thing to take away. The other thing to take away is you have to have $500 to get paid at your title no matter what. Your team could sell $10,000, and if you only put in $200, you don't get paid off of that $10,000. You have to condition yourself in this business to $500 is the minimum. No questions asked. Every single month, $500 is the minimum.
See how confusing that is? So you'll see this when I do my second deep dive that's going to be way better than my first one. Scentsy has like so many different GWV, TWV, PRV. I think there's a few other ones, and it's just like you have to hit all these numbers. And I think they do this to purposely confuse you to make it look like it's going to be easier than it is. And just like she said, like the PRV is so different than the TWV in the sense that one is retail and one is wholesale. So they kind of trick you to think like if you hit this certain retail, then if you're not familiar with it, if you're not familiar with the difference between retail and wholesale, which a lot of people aren't, then you can kind of screw yourself over and come in and fall a little bit short when you didn't realize you were going to fall short, which happened to me a couple of times.
Because that is the first step in having this be a Scentsy business for you. Because it's a Scentsy business when you actually are making money more than off of your own sales. Okay. Jody.
Crap, I forgot. There was two things, but one was the 500 PRV that you need to have. You need to make sure that you're checking that before the month ends to make sure that it's actually PRV, because sometimes PRV is calculated differently if it is a licensed item, something like that. So we've seen people say, you know, they've ended the month and they're at like $498 because they didn't, you know, double check it. And the other thing I wanted to say about the 500 PRV is some people.
So when she says that, like the licensed items, like the Disney and the Harry Potter, you will get a less percentage of PRV because they have to pay out like Warner Brothers or whoever, Disney, whoever it is. They also, your charity items that you sell. So I don't know if they still do it, but they used to have like a warmer that would be for charity and then like a Scentsy buddy that would be for a specific charity. And they would switch those. I think it was every catalog. And those items you don't get full PRV for either because they have to pay out some to the charity. So it'll be, when I was in, it was like $5 to $10 less on those items that would qualify for PRV. So that was something that you had to be really careful about. And since I left, their licensed products, also like the MLB stuff and stuff like that, their licensed products have grown astronomically. And the amount of Disney that they have is insane. So I can imagine that like keeping up with that PRV and keeping track of it can be a lot more difficult than you would expect it to be.
People, when they don't understand why we have that, don't really grasp it well. They don't accept it well. It's basically a safety net. So Melissa can't come in here and recruit all of these rock star people who are going to sell, and she's just going to sit back and do nothing but collect paychecks off of them. That's why that 500 requirement is there in order for you to earn royalties off of somebody else. So think of it as, you know, it's safety, it's protection for you. So if you're going to do all this work, your sponsor's not going to get paid if they're sitting back doing nothing. That's all I wanted to add.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just good conditioning too, to get yourself in the mindset of, I mean, obviously if you're on this call, you're interested in making this a business, making it more, I mean, anybody can start a Scentsy business and earn commission off their own sales. That's available to all of us. But you kick it to the next level and make it a business once you condition yourself to run it as a business. And part of that is selling at least $500 a month. No questions asked.
So I just wanted to say something really quick because I know that was a lot of numbers and a lot of things. And I remember someone, and I wish I could remember so I could give credit, but like when I first started and someone was breaking the comp plan down to me.
I'm sorry. I don't know why like their Zoom recording kept getting stuck on like people who weren't talking, but it will switch back to the person who's talking here in a minute.
It was like you have these hoops that you have to jump through every month, no matter what your title is, whatever. So like Melissa said, that I just remember like check marks, basically 500, you know, active frontline, GWV, like, or TWV, whatever it was at the time, you know, depending on where. And that was just easy. Like that was like a check mark. There's 3 hoops you had to jump through to get to certain things. And so if that helps you at all, it was kind of just like a mental checklist for me that helped me keep on track of what numbers I needed to be looking at.
Yeah. And knowing that, again, it starts over every month. It starts over every single month. You have to work to get paid at title every month.
And I think it's important to point out that we all have to, even as superstar directors, we are open our workstation on the first of the month. All those little circles are zeros, right?
Yep.
Like we all start at 0 and have to requalify every single month to be paid at title.
The disappointment when that happens, like if you've never been in an MLM and did that month-to-month thing where like you work so hard on the last day of the month to reach all of your goals, and then the next morning you wake up and everything is back at 0, you're like, I have to do it all over again. I remember that feeling so well. It's awful.
Yep.
And I want to insert this here really quick. I know we're saying condition yourself, yes, to 500, but I want you to condition yourself to, and Brandy, we'll talk publicly more too, because what you're asking, what you're doing, you're not alone. So put your comments publicly on this thread where everybody can see them, if you don't mind, because Brandy, you are not alone. And I want to say this to you guys because you are working twice as hard getting these individual orders to rack them up to 500 every month. If you will just find one hostess, become really good at parties, figure it out, get help. Last week, I told you guys, we will help you because it's way easier to get 500 PRV in one party in 30 minutes in a month than you spending 28 days to get a 6-pack of bars, a 3-pack of bulbs to get your 500. So I'm just going to plug that really quick because if you're not good at it, you've got to become good at it.
I'm curious as to, and I have newer trainings to go over as well, so I guess we'll see. But I'm curious about like their party situation because I know I've noticed as of late that parties aren't really a thing anymore, especially after the vid happened and everything. That's not really how these MLMs are marketing themselves any longer. I wonder if Scentsy has adjusted their messaging that way too. I've sort of avoided Scentsy, and the reason is because I haven't made a video on Scentsy aside from my experience, and it's because it's the MLM that has the biggest emotional tie for me because I was in it for so long and I have so many friends still in it. So even when I was in, I know that that's their biggest thing, like party, pouch party, online party, catalog party, in-home party, all different kinds of parties. That was their biggest thing.
The next thing we really need to touch on is what is rank versus title. And one of the reasons this topic wanted to be covered was because when it comes to this incentive period, which we talked about earning last week, you could get paid at title points and you could get paid at rank points. Okay. So really where this comes into place is anywhere from lead and above. So lead consultant and above. So in Melissa's analogy, she had me join, she had Jody join. Let's say the three of us, we had a killer month and Melissa promoted to star consultant. So now Melissa has a title of star consultant. Okay. But then the next month, it was not a killer month. We hit lead numbers at the end of the month. For that month, Melissa would have a title of star consultant, but since she didn't requalify for star consultant, she would get a rank pay of lead. So that is the difference between title and rank. If you qualify less than your current title, that would be your rank. And you can still get points towards the incentive trip. You still get commission as a lead consultant for that month, but it's not necessarily as a star consultant. Okay. So that's the difference there.
I wanted to say something really on point with that for a second. And I'm just throwing myself out there just as a prime example. I am a superstar director. Okay. But right now I'm only getting paid as a star director because I haven't met all of the other requirements. So if that helps the analogy in your head, I am a superstar director. I am that title. I am that in all the things, except I am only getting paid as a star director, which I'm still grateful for. But just to help with your analogy, if that helps anybody see it a little better.
I will say this. I was a superstar director. I was not paid as a superstar director for 6 years and 3 months because I was missing one of the requirements in the boxes, right? And the one I was missing was this one right here. For first generation directors. Everything else was met, but that one was not. So if you're ever unsure of where you're going to fall and where you're going to get paid, go to the chart on the catalog on page 61. Wherever your numbers match up, that's where you're going to get paid. If you ever get confused and are like, I don't really know where I'm falling. Well, if you have 2 active frontline consultants and your GWV has met 2,500 and you have personal sales of 500, regardless of whatever your title says, if that's the requirements you met, that's what you're getting paid. That's my little cheat sheet.
So there's one more really important piece here that we hope that none of you ever come across, but it is a very important piece. So Melissa's team is booming, okay? I'm an average consultant. We already knew I am not part of the 2000 PRV club. I'm an average consultant, right? But Jody came on in Melissa's team and she is killing it. Not only is she selling really well, she's also sponsoring and she is just rocking her business, all right? So now Melissa is a star consultant and Jody has promoted to star consultant. So now they both have the same title. What happens? Unfortunately, we as consultants always have to try and stay a step ahead of our team members until we get to director. So in that scenario where Jody is a star consultant and Melissa is a star consultant, Melissa will actually not get paid on Jody's team wholesale volume. If you are the same title or your downline outranks you, you don't get paid on them.
Interesting, because we're so often told from MLM representatives, Scentsy included, that your team, you'll always make money off of your team. Even if they pass you, they're still going to be part of your team and they're still going to be part of your income. So very interesting. They're saying a lot of the quiet parts out loud in this training.
Now that does change when you become a director. When you become a director, we then get paid in a completely different way on that. It goes to generation versus frontline, which we're not going to dive into tonight. If you are a director and above, I do have a generation versus level compensation plan training that I kind of discussed, and I'm happy to share that. But that will go in a completely different direction. So,
Callie, will you repeat what you just said one more time?
I would love to.
Thank you.
From the beginning?
Just the part where you said if you're the same title or they outrank you.
Okay. Yeah. So if you were the same title, so if Jody and Melissa, let's reverse that, Melissa and then Jody, because Jody's her team member, right? If Jody reaches the same title or higher, Melissa will no longer get paid on her. You have to be a title above your team members or a director for that to change. Okay. And then at director, it goes to generational bonuses. So, even if you, and if definitely if your rank, right? If your rank is low, then you're obviously not going to get the title pay on those that are out titling or outranking you. I know this is a lot, and this is why we wanted to break it down in a lot of depth, because it can be confusing, but I think it's important to understand so you know what the expectations are, so that you don't open your commission check and then you're like, oh my gosh, wait, I didn't earn this commission, or I thought it was going to be this, or I thought it was going to be that, because that's probably one of the saddest days of the month instead of the most exciting days of the month, right?
Or you open your commission check and you're like, okay, how do I grow this? How do I work smarter, not harder? How do I start growing this business? And that's a question we all, there's not that secret formula for recruiting or sponsoring or getting people to join or it is just consistency in doing what you do and teaching your downline when you do have them to do the same thing.
I think, don't you feel like when your team members come to you, Melissa, or any of you guys, that's like the hardest question to answer, because like, hey, what do I do to grow? And you're like, okay, well, why did you join? Well, this is what I'm saying. Okay, you need to find other people that want to do that too. Or, all of those little bits and pieces. There's not a secret. It's consistently asking and going for the no and hearing that no over and over and over again. Jen's a top recruiter. Melissa, Heather does a really great job with flipping parties. I'm sure they can tell you those exact same things of it's just doing the same actions over.
Well, and I like hearing Jen, like when Jen talks about, Jen is an astounding recruiter, sponsor. And she's going to say, I don't even know what I do. That's so, but I love hearing you talk about sponsoring, because you do it in such a way that that's just, it speaks to people. So I just threw you in front of your own RV.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Am I talking or no? Oh, so sponsoring. So you want me to talk about sponsoring? So basically, I just share the opportunity with everyone, just like the rest of you. Honestly, when people come to you to buy a six-pack of wax, your first response should be, why would you buy this from me when you can sell it yourself and you can earn your own wax for free? And then if they don't want to do that, then you can say, well, then why would you want to pay full price for this? Book a party, have a party, earn your wax for free. And then I feel like for myself personally, if I have completely failed, I tell them that it's $31.65 with tax. But you better believe they go on my list that they didn't try to chop my head off when I asked them to join. So I share the opportunity with absolutely everybody. And it's the very first thing I talk about because I know what a blessing this company is for each and every one of us. And I've seen what it has done for every walk of life, all different nationalities, all shapes and sizes, absolutely everyone. Anybody can be successful in this business. And that's one of the things I love most about our business.
So she just said, like, she keeps a list of people that don't try to chop her head off when she asks them to join. So that just means that she's going to re-ask them next time they need more wax or next time she encounters any exchange with them whatsoever. So yeah. List of 100. Editing Sam here. This video obviously got entirely too long for me to release in one part, so I had to split it up into two. If you are watching this live time, part 2 will be coming out later this afternoon, which is May 8th, 2023. If you are watching this at a different time, I will make sure that part 2 is linked right here in the end screen, and I will see you over there.